Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take a look at the Extreme Z battle for the LR Majin Vegeta. So this is a pretty big legendary ZA. Obviously these come out every once in a while, and it's for the Beyond the Ferocious Flash Majin Vegeta. Now it's a pretty good EZA, and we'll take a look at the details after we complete the EZA. But the most important things that you need to know is that for this Extreme Z battle, the effective categories are Super Saiyan 2 category units, and Super Tech and Extreme Tech units are going to be the most effective defensively. Now every single type is effective defensively, but there are two important things to note when you are taking on LRZAs. The first is that they can hit really hard, and they're not considered content for brand new players. I would highly suggest you do a lot of work into your teams, including putting in gear that will allow you to kind of create a really good system for them. And then secondly, the other thing to take note is that you need to activate the Link legendary power so that you can achieve the most damage possible to take out the event. Now of course that is only really possible with LR units, which means having LR units is quite important to completing the run, or at least doing enough damage. You can whittle down the opposition without using a lot of LR linking, and obviously if you don't have really good LRs, that is something you should focus on. In terms of building for this, you could do a Universe 6 build, or you could do a Super Saiyan 2 build. Universe 6 build leaves a lot of strength units in your team, which can leave your team a little bit weakened. So I myself personally suggest just going for the straight the straight Super Saiyan 2 build. However, you can also use Vegeta, the transforming one, as a pure Saiyan's lead and try and operate with that. But it is just something that you are just going to have to kind of work around as best you can and see where you can go to from there. Like I said, you need a situation that maximizes the LRs on your team, but also a situation that's quite strong defensively, trying to keep as many tech-based units on your team as possible. In terms of free-to-play units, there are 3 really good Super Saiyan 2 free-to-play units that function exceptionally on a Universe 6 team. That is Int Kale, Strength Caulifla, and Tech Kaba. We'll be using Tech Kaba in this team build. You could possibly in the Universe 6 team build use Int Kale as well, but I wouldn't really suggest using the Strength Caulifla. If she doesn't dodge, she's just going to take far too much damage and cause you a lot of issues. So we're going to start things off here. We're not too concerned about the early stages. I will be showing the stage 1 and the final stage. I don't really show any of the in-between stages for LRZAs because they're not really necessary. If you can see the team can do the first stage and do the last stage, I'll usually notify you of any changes and any reasons why. One thing you will notice as you go throughout the stage is that Vegeta obviously gets progressively harder. One thing you are going to want to be aware of is you do need to make sure that you get your super attack with the Tech Kaba. Without it, he doesn't have a lot of defense and can end up taking a lot of damage. You also want to be careful about how you utilize LR Gohan and the LR Kale and Caulifla 2 if that's the options that you are using. The reason being is that they actually do take quite a bit of damage initially, especially as you get into the later stages. So what you want to do is you kind of want to put them in situations where they're not facing a lot of attacks, so they can get off 1 or 2 super attacks to build up their defense so they continue throughout the event. I myself do that in the final run, and you will see that. The transforming Goku actually just does really well the whole way through. Mine is only 55% and he holds up fantastically, but he does have his EZA. I don't really want to say anything else, but I think his EZA is entirely necessary. So if you are going to run with this specific team build, just make sure that you do have the EZA for Goku. It's very important. So we're going to jump across, head across to the stage 10. Obviously you can see here nothing much has changed. The types won't change at all. Vegeta is now just immune to stunning. Eventually he'll be immune to sealing, and then immune to attack and defense lowering. The typing doesn't change at all. It's just that using tech units obviously gives you a natural type advantage, which is quite helpful. But for the most part, everything else is perfectly fine. We do not adjust our team at any point throughout this LRZA. we keep our team pretty much exactly the same. I do shuffle their equipment. Some of them didn't have equipment, so I shuffle some more equipment on them. I did shuffle slightly more defensive orientated equipment onto the LR Gohan and onto the LR AGL Majin, along with also putting some more defensive equipment on the Kaba unit. I did also change up my strategy slightly, and I made sure that I prioritized having Gohan floating until he would get some super attacks or put him into situations where he wasn't taking a lot of super attacks. And I prioritized key orbs for Kaba because, like I said, when he wasn't able to get off his super attacks or his key, he would take far too much damage. In this situation, he was taking like 40k when his defense wasn't activating, which is a little bit too much. It didn't really give me the ability to place him into harm's way. When he does get his super attacks, he is perfectly fine. Otherwise, the team build was perfectly viable. This friend Vegeta was really great. If you can, trying to get the Vegeta to transform is also a very, very good call. The additional stats, well, the additional ability to gain stats is really, really helpful, and just overall a bit better for the unit. But you don't gain a lot of advantage from the actual transformation itself beyond the heightened ability to have increased defense. The guarding against all types obviously is irrelevant in this fight, and of course, you know, the type effectives is also irrelevant in this fight, as Vegeta maintains that due to his type advantage the whole way through. This Majin Vegeta takes quite a bit of damage near the end, anywhere from around 10 to 16,000 depending on your health at the time. So he is someone that I just generally didn't want to leave on rotation. I would mainly leave him as a floating unit, and then that kind of ended up giving me the best results overall. But it is just something you are going to have to take a look at and decide more in the turn, rather than something you're going to be able to kind of put together with a set plan of action. But yeah, everything kind of goes to plan here perfectly fine. You just have to manage your units correctly. You'll see that I have the LR Gohan. I switch him off of rotation due to the fact that I want to be more defensively sound. And even though it does cost you a bit of damage, you need to always facilitate those type of things in mind. It's, you know, not really something you can just tackle on and say, oh, I'm going to leave them there because I got legendary power active. If Gohan's taking 50k per normal super attack, it's just not going to be viable. So yeah, realistically, that's kind of how you tackle the stage. You can see here also being clever with orbs. I'm trying to maximize the healing that I get, especially from, you know, the AGL and Caulifla unit. They are really, really solid. They're always triggering a part of their passive because they're fighting Vegeta, because they're fighting a pure Saiyan's enemy. In terms of LR units under the Super Saiyan 2, because the, you know, requirements of the stage means that you don't have to use AGL units. You know, you can utilize any typing. The only like units I wouldn't suggest bringing are just strength type units. For the most part, you can bring pretty much anything else. And on the LR front, there's a couple cool options. There's the Int Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. He obviously got his EZA to have defense. Bringing him at 55% might be a little bit difficult, but you could definitely do it if you have a couple copies in them. The Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, the youth one, the movie Heroes one from the BoJack movie, is really, really good. Obviously doing huge damage, which is fantastic. He also just is a really solid unit and can have really, really good defense. So from that aspect, I think he's really solid and really, really good. And bringing him is perfectly fine, especially since he can link somewhat okay with a lot of these units. And then obviously you have the Sai LR Vegeta, who you can definitely bring. He's also really good. So there's no real problem. There's no specific reason why I'm using the LR Gohan and the LR AGL and Caulifla. It's just obviously that for me, they're the ones that have the most dupes in, and they're the ones that I thought would operate the best. I only have 55% copies of Int Gohan and of Sai Vegeta, so I thought I would roll with these two. The LR AGL and Caulifla are probably the only LR, barring maybe the movie, the Super Saiyan 2 Gohan Youth, the movie one, that I would say are exceptionally good for this event, just because of the fact that they will always launch an additional super attack against Vegeta, and that means that they can end up firing 3 super attacks in a turn. They can stack their defense really well, so yeah, for me, they're probably the standout LR. If you had to bring in LR, if you were looking at your massive collection of LRs that you probably don't have, and you're like, God, which LR am I definitely going to bring into the stage? I would say the LR AGL and Caulifla are probably the one. Just because of that extra super. Also, they can quickly ramp up some evasion and defense because of that, which really helps them out quite a lot, because the evasion can make them very powerful and prevent them from taking a lot of damage, which is really good. And so yeah, for me, I think they definitely are a really powerful pair that do a lot of good work, so I would 100% bring them. Other than that, the category is quite diverse, so you can just bring whatever you really want to, and whatever your box really allows you to bring. So the reason this run here is taking a little bit longer than I would like is because we weren't able to maximize the legendary power link in any real given situation. And the reason is because in the initial turn that Gohan revealed himself, it wasn't defensively sound to place him in the first or second slot, and we had to maximize our healing. So we needed to give all the AGL orbs to the AGL and Caulifla to heal up, which set us in a better scenario for later on. Had we placed Gohan in any of those slots, we would have probably just taken far too much damage and been left on too low health. Even in this exact situation here, we take a super on Gohan at the end, we will more than likely lose this run. We are not really able to control that, so it is just something you have to kind of plan out. You can't really go in with the idea of keeping them together for the sake of damage. Sometimes you have to split off units. There's just one of those things. You can see there Gohan taking 60k, so yeah, but we managed to get through that. Everything came out fine. We're okay in this scenario here. We should have enough health to get through the run, even if we get supered on the Majin Vegeta. I'm not too worried about the AGL and Caulifla with their evasion, and I think by this point they will be close to 400k defense, so they should also be fine. Getting supered on Majin Vegeta at the end would suck, but I think we'll have just enough damage to take Vegeta out before then, so everything's perfectly fine, and we do just take out Vegeta with that damage, so everything went through perfectly fine, and we're sitting with the victory. So you can see you don't have to maximize legendary power link, but honestly, if you can, you should, because it will just speed up your run tremendously. Everything will go a lot smoother, a lot faster, a lot quicker, and you'll be able to get the event done in much less time. But that is pretty much it. That is us completing the run here. Really good overall. Didn't take too long, barring this last run, which was obviously quite fine. And we'll take a look at Vegeta. There is a mission for this event. It's clearing stage 7 and you get 3 stones. So you can obviously do that and you will get 3 stones. So it's 33 stones in total, which is, you know, quite a nice bit of change. And you obviously get some AGL Kais as well. And there we go. We have Beyond the Ferocious Flash, Majin Vegeta completed. In terms of his EZA, it looks pretty interesting. He has 150% defense and 180% attack. They didn't change the modifiers on those 12 and 18 keys, so those still remain the same. And he also gains numerous benefits based on his team. 20% damage reduction if Bulma is in the team, 20% attack and defense if there is a Trunks kid in the team. Then if there is a Goku in the same turn, he also gains some additional attack. And below 30% he gains 12 key and a guaranteed critical hit, which is pretty cool. He raises attack on his super attacks, which is okay, and his stun chance was increased slightly. But that's it. Let me know what you guys think and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. But I'll see you next time. Until then, bye.